Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood. Hello and welcome to the Kachat. It's the only podcast brave enough to ask the question, hey, what's up with cars? I'm Lucas Southworth.
And I'm trying to find my volume.
Okay, did I do too loud in your ears just then?
It's not that it was too loud, it's that it was loud after quiet.
Yeah, we were pretty subdued this morning. We're kind of sleepy, but say your name.
I'm John Bishop.
Okay, there you go. We got there. We got there, folks. John, what are we talking about today on our podcast that we like to call the Kachat?
Today we are talking about Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. May I take your order?
I mean, tangentially, probably. I mean, we are now talking about it since you mentioned it. We thought we'd get into the service industry this episode. Hopefully, we've come up with some lovely pun for the name by now, and you could have worked that out by yourself. But probably not. The puns are getting harder and harder, folks.
We say that, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. Did you know that Street Sharks included shark in every title?
Yeah, like it's possible for us to do it. Like the precedent is there. It's not that it's getting harder to come up with.
It's that it's hard to keep them being good and interesting rather than just saying car.
Yeah, like there's a good chance it's the Carvis industry. And like that's not good.
Okay.
But it's the only one I've come up with yet. If you come up with a better one by the end of the episode, interrupt me mid-sentence and tell me, okay?
I mean, it's gonna be hard to do mid-sentence because, like, my name on the thing is Big Mac, and we could do something with that.
No, yeah, I was thinking about that because we are going to almost certainly talk a lot about They're Loving It, McDonald's, for a good portion of this for a few reasons. I don't know.
All right.
And also, I don't know if that'll read. Like me, who's been primed, over the past several years to read everything as through the lens of cars, sees that and I'm like, oh, it's because Mac, the truck, and he's big. But if we just title the episode Big Mac, I don't know.
We could rely solely on the fact that WAP has included that in its song.
Okay, sure.
They park that Big Mac truck.
Okay.
Right in this little garage.
Let me see if Mac is spelled with a K or not. Okay, Mac's spelled with a K. We can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the title. Cool. We got there live. How's that for seeing the sausage get made? Because it's like the service industry episode. John, to talk about something. I've been talking for a while.
All right. So when you think service industry, I think we can all agree that we all immediately come to one thought: chicken nuggets. Now, chicken nuggets are a hard thing to think about in a world where everything is cars. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because what's a chicken? What's a nugget? I don't even know what a nugget is in our world. Sometimes people say nugget of gold. I wouldn't want to eat gold.
But some people do eat gold, importantly. Those little
but
gold
not
flakes.
In nugget form.
Yeah, I guess you could just swallow a small nugget of gold, but that's not really eating. I mean, yeah, we're going to get into a lot of what is meat and does meat exist this episode, I feel like.
Okay.
So, I guess let's dive right in. Chickens.
What's a chicken? Look at all these chickens.
While we think about that, I'll want to say two things about the Cane's drive-thru. First is, every time we go there, they'll say something like, hey, want some chicken today? And Liz, it sort of stresses her out because she doesn't know how to respond, and she just says, "Hi, I'd like," and then orders. But I always think it's very easy because they say, "Hey, hey, hey, want some chicken today?" And I go, "Yes."
I would love some chicken today.
It's why I came to the restaurant with four different variations on chicken fingers. Anyway, John, I'm sure in that time you thought of what chickens are in the cars first, so please go ahead and enlighten us.
Chickens are clearly flightless birds, which, as we have mentioned before, flightless
Hmm.
birds would be like toy helicopters and
Yeah.
things like that. So I'm assuming it's going to be specifically a GI Joe style flying vehicle.
Yeah, okay. I can dig that. Should we should we read the email that we got about this episode before we
Let's
get
read
much
the
further?
email.
Okay. Sounds good. It's fast and loose today, but when isn't it? Once again, our good friend Jack has reached out to us and they say, "Hi John and Lucas. I got a new email." He did. It's a different email from what he's been emailing us from. Anyway, is there McDonald's, Subway, Taco Bell, and cereal? How do they make the food? And maybe how do they do cereal? Also, my car's generator name is Skip Drive Shield.
All right, so Skip Drive Shield, excellent questions as always. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Yesterday was one of many days I have been asked the question or had it proposed to me that I should eat cereal out of my chest.
Oh, yeah, because your chest bowl. Also, quick shout out to Caden, as always, for the car's name generator. We will be forever in your debt. Go ahead, John.
So I'm wondering, is there some sort of built-in bowl that cars have for cereal?
First off, real quick, you should explain your chest bowl so people understand what the hell we're talking about.
I have a very serious, not serious condition called pectus excavatum. It is a condition in which my chest is indented. It's a thing that 1 in 500 to 1 in 1,000 people have. Typically, the people who have it are fairly tall and very thin. It's not always the case, obviously. And basically, it's I got a bowl built in right in my chest.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And people jokingly say to put cereal in it.
Hmm.
I think that that's a cowardly joke, and they should suggest hot soup because that would hurt, and that'd be funnier as a joke.
I think that people should consider the fact that I don't want liquid on the chest and acknowledge the fact that I do use it as a bowl occasionally for M&Ms, especially mini M&Ms.
Yeah, I bet you could fit a lot of those small little suckers in there. Anyway, you have posed a question earlier. Do the cars have something similar they could use as a bowl built in on their body?
Yes. Or specifically inside.
Okay. I mean, inside, if we. Okay. If we assume the inside of a car is fairly similar, just with some squishy bits shoved everywhere, throw it in the cup holders, I guess? But
Okay, but that is where the brain is, right?
yeah, no, I wasn't. I wasn't sure what you meant by inside, so I was just sort of spitballing there.
Well, perhaps you store it under the hood.
Okay, that's where their well, that's where their engine is. Definitely,
Keep it warm. You
lots of
know, you want your
fluids and
cereal and milk to be warm, right?
I mean, maybe if you go for like a cream of wheat oatmeal kind of situation, which I've sometimes heard referred to as like hot cereal, but hey, man, I like cream of wheat. But
Hot cereal. Oh.
no, yeah, no, that doesn't seem like a great option. I was thinking, and you're gonna have to help me get here because I've only got the beginnings of this, and I can't conceptualize how it gets from this to their mouth. But I was thinking they could just take the mirror out of their side view mirror and just sort of rotate it 90 degrees. That's a bowl, baby.
Okay, but here's my issue with that. How do you eat on the go?
Now that'll fly off pretty bad.
See,
So
what you
you
gotta
would
do,
want it protected from air.
you gotta put the cereal and the milk inside of you so that you can eat all the time, which is why we rarely ever see cars eating.
Okay.
Think about it this way. You're Lightning McQueen. You're going so fast. You're racing like crazy, racing your heart out. You want a little snack. You eat a little snack in the middle of the biggest race, and you feel a little refreshed, ready to go. You keep going, and you're great. Now, you may say, well, people can't do this while they're like sprinting. Okay, but like this is a car we're talking about. If you're running a marathon as a person, you're running a marathon, you try and go fast, who knows? You don't eat in the middle of it. But if you're in this world and you go on a road trip, you're inside a car, you're traveling constantly, you still eat snacks.
And John, I've just googled the words "Do NASCAR drivers eat and drink during a race?" and it's according to this article on keepitgnarly.com. Sorry, their logo's a monkey with a backwards cap and sunglasses.
Heck yeah, dude.
He's keeping it gnarly. What can I say? But yeah, they say that they do. Like many drivers keep snack bars and protein bars in the glove box, and others get sandwiches and snacks passed to them during the race. So
Nice.
so yeah, I do want to say, and we don't have time to get into this today. When I typed in "do NASCAR drivers," the first three autocomplete results are "wear diapers, poop in their suits, wear depends." So,
So two of those are wear diapers.
and the other one is basically "wear diapers."
Okay. So
Science isn't there yet, though. That's not this episode, so you you
I
can't
gotta
find out.
say, it, I imagine that they've got to be able to hold it for 2 hours, right?
I mean, these races go you 2-3 hours. That's not a short amount of time to hold it.
I mean, I will say that, like, as a person with likely irritable bowels, I can attest to the fact that a long, bumpy, fast car ride
Yeah.
is not great for holding things together. But I could do it for 3 hours if it were that or just, I mean, ruin everything about my day.
Well, John, that's why you haven't won a Daytona 500, and the only reason.
Fair enough, fair enough. You're probably right. That's probably it.
Okay, so we have found out that yeah, the NASCAR drivers keep snacks in there, according to maybe a less than reputable site, but maybe a very reputable one. Who can say? So yeah, Lightning's got some cereal in his engine hood area. Why not?
Okay.
You did it, John. I
I did
guess.
it. I figured out cereal. Now let's figure out Big Macs.
Yeah,
Lucas, why is it called a Big Mac?
it's called a Big Mac because the restaurant is called McDonald's, and it's a big sandwich, so it's Big Mac Donald. Big Mac.
Now, big is, of course, a relative term.
Yeah, it's not that big of a sandwich compared to like 2021 sandwich standards.
All right, but let's think about it this way. It's big in the fact that you can't just toss one in your mouth, chew and swallow in a few seconds.
Yeah.
It's big compared to our hands and our ability to consume it. And cars got real big mouths.
Yeah, they got big mouths, but importantly, no hands.
Okay, so no hands, big mouths, open hearts, fly free.
Sure.
Um, okay, so how big is a Big Mac?
Okay, for us, it's about, I don't know, this is a rough estimate, a quarter of the size of our face, maybe? Like not
Okay,
our whole head. That's but like just the face area.
so a quarter the size of our face. What is the face of a car?
Yeah, it's not a great metric to translate to cars, but I would say their face is like from the top of their windshield eyes down to the bottom of their like front bumper mouth, which is a lot of car. The hood's in there.
All right. Now, how many chickens would you have to butcher to make one Big Mac?
Chickens?
Yep.
Why are the chicken? None.
Oh, Lucas. Oh, Lucas. Innocent Lucas.
Go
What
on.
do you think the bread's made of?
Wheat.
You think America eats wheat?
Yes. Grain.
Uh,
General grains. Now they're not grinding the bones to make the bread like in that one fairy tale I can't remember.
Hansel and Gretel?
I don't know. There's one where it's important that someone's grinding bones into bread. I can't remember which one. It might be Hansel and Gretel.
All right. So let's talk about it. It's time
Okay.
for not very fun fact of the day or very not fun fact of the day. There's a weird condition that you can get from eating chicken. This condition basically causes you to retain and hold on to just massive amounts of weight. And
Hmm.
I can't remember exactly what the term is, but that's just a warning is that if you eat a lot of chicken, there's a small chance, very small chance, that you might get a condition that causes you to rapidly gain and hold on to weight forever.
Well, that's no good. I imagine it's a minuscule chance, and John's not a doctor, so consider both of those things. Uh, but it's not fun. You're right.
All right. Now, there's also like reasons people think of that is just like people think, oh, the growth hormones are going to cause you to gain weight. That is not the condition I'm talking about.
Yeah,
It's a specific condition. I don't remember the name, but it's something that basically is just one in a million. You're going to get this and you're not going to be able to lose weight and you're going to hold on to weight like crazy.
that's no fun. No fun at all. So they got these sandwiches, and they're about, I don't know, 2 feet tall,
2 feet tall.
maybe.
Okay. Well, I've been playing some Stardew Valley,
Sure.
and the chickens in that game are roughly half the person size, like the sprite.
Yeah.
So if we assume they're somehow that tall, like I guess 2 to 3 feet, which is probably massive for a chicken, uh, then that's gonna be great for I guess one nugget each.
We're talking about Big Macs. Why do
I
you keep
know,
going
but I
back to
keep
these
going back to
chickens?
chickens.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
All right, so we got John Deere,
Sure.
we got tractors,
Yeah, tractors.
we got other things that are like uh, the bovine variety.
Yeah.
What? How much of that is meat?
I mean, it comes down to this is the discussion I knew we'd get to, and the discussion I wasn't ready to have, John. Comes down to if they eat the mechanical parts of the tractor or if like an oyster or a clam they crack it open and get the squishy bit out and make that into Big Macs.
Okay.
And I'm not sure I'm ready to go either way on that, but I'm leaning towards they crack them open like you would on lobster night, get that sweet meat out of there, grind it up, sell it with a clown logo.
All right. But what if you crack open a big old cow in this world and you dig down deep and you find like 1 square inch, no, 1 cubic inch of meat?
Yeah, that's sort of what where I'm getting to too is like cows are big,
Cows are big.
importantly so, and very intentionally so on the part of the American farming industry. Cows have lots of meat on them, very,
Hmm.
very intentionally, but like if it's just the squishy bit of the tractor, that's already like cutting down a lot of what the meat can be.
Hmm.
Like how much meat per tractor there is.
Okay, but then let's think about it this way. It's an exoskeleton. Cows have endoskeletons, so you can't use any part of the skeleton
Yeah, okay.
unless you're using it for broth. You can't use the brain because anything with brains oftentimes will result in some weird neurochemical disease that can cause you to go insane. I know it's more specifically monkeys if people eat monkey brain,
Yeah.
but it could happen. So I think they would just want to avoid that. Some people eat tongue, but that's weird to an American.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and say for some reason we're not going to count that on the cow, but we're going to count it for the car. We're going to count it for the car because car tongue and tractor tongue, very big.
Yeah, and if nothing else, they're what we can see.
Hmm.
So we can at least base some stuff off that. So
Now,
okay,
meat
you're
patties, chicken nuggets, those are basically just ground up meat
yeah,
shoved together.
yeah.
What if the difference between tractors and cows is that the meat of the tractor is like 100% usable.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of thinking we were like getting to. Like they don't have a skeletal structure in there. Like very importantly, it's a squishy bit.
Hmm.
It's all squishy. So yeah, and again, much like mussel or a clam or an oyster, I don't know which ones you eat. I don't really. They look kind of gross to me. Uh,
I feel like you don't eat clam, but you might. Who knows? You probably eat all three.
well, no, there's clam chowder. Anyway, you sort of just suck out that whole bit when you eat them. I assume. Again, I haven't had them. They look gross and icky. but
Okay.
so I imagine it's sort of like that. So yeah, I think you're right. Just throw it all in the grinder and make them good giant patties.
And why is this possible? I think it's possible because our theories on the squishy bit are essentially that people have evolved in such a way that they can perfectly meld and mesh with machines and or grow exoskeletons,
Yeah,
which to me means that all of the fleshy bit is probably going to be roughly the same weird pseudo meat material.
yeah. I could see like, well, I don't even know if they'd have organs. Period. Like,
They got eyes.
yeah, they got eyes, but like the brain could be like the computerized parts of the car.
Hmm.
The like whatever tanks you need, like your kidneys or whatnot, would be like I don't know the gas tank or the fuel tank or not. Those are the same thing. The oil or whatever. And yeah, besides like eyes, maybe a stomach, since very importantly, we're like saying they eat in this episode. I
We're
don't,
hoping.
yeah, I don't see what would like really they would need.
Well, I'd like to think
They'd need intestines too if
that
they
their
ate.
brain is basically the whole thing. That they're this strange mother brain style creature. And it's all like this gooey, self sufficient brain system because somehow that makes it easier for me to imagine them as still being somewhat human. Because the thing about humans is that we got big brain, and not even like physically.
No, yeah,
Oh boy. So, like, I'd like to imagine that the part of humanity that survives, maybe the soul, if you're gonna count that, but would be the intelligence and awareness. So, like, having a computer brain would make it like, oh, that's just flesh for the sake of flesh.
yeah. At that point, the flesh isn't really doing anything.
Yeah, it's just a parasite.
Yeah. So
Who
yeah, but
knows
I think
though? Maybe it's hungry flesh, and it's like venom.
ooh, opposite venom, venom that lives inside you instead of outside you.
You could even say anti venom,
Yeah, but like
who's
I think
also a
it,
character.
I think anti venom also lives on the outside of you.
Well, the weird thing about symbiotes is that they like fuse with you on a
Yeah, yeah,
fundamental
yeah.
level. Like Cletus Cassidy, I think once was blown to smithereens, but some of the venom, not the venom, the Carnage symbiote survived. And since it was mixed with his blood, it could just become him again.
Wild.
Yeah. So I
I'm I,
think that it's like a weird, the flesh and the symbiote are all one creature.
okay. Well, that's fair. Yeah, I think that's how they make burgers. I want to get back to like specific cuts of meat, but like that's not really a thing at McDonald's. So I want to go ahead and do my quote. I bet you can guess what it is of the day
Give
about.
me that. Uh, Hopefully, I can see a comment of the day.
Today we're going over to very similarly to I think last week, World of Cars drive-in.fandom.com/wiki/McDonald's.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not. I'll go ahead and stipulate this. I'm not seeing evidence that McDonald's exists in the Cars verse, which is a shame. It's just the opening sentence is McDonald's is the world's largest chain of hamburger fast food restaurants. They promoted the film Cars in 2006. So they did like some Happy Meals with the characters from Cars, and that's why they're on the Cars wiki. Uh, but I think there's actually a very interesting bit of trivia down if we go down to the trivia section that says in Cars, Fillmore was originally going to be called Waldmeyer after Robert Bob Waldmeyer, a Route 66 resident whom the crew befriended during their road trip to do research for the film. However, Waldmeyer was vegan and he did not want his name to be featured in Happy Meal toys at McDonald's. So they changed it. Which,
Okay.
yeah, big respect to this guy holding to his standards.
Very shaggy.
No, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Oh
that's it.
boy.
I just thought that was actually like an interesting piece of trivia instead of like a weird wording on the Cars wiki for once.
All right. So, for a second there, I was real confused because, in case you're wondering why we're as strange energy as we are right now, it's because it's daylight savings day, and we lost an hour of sleep.
True.
And as such, when he said Robert Bob, I thought, who would name their son both Robert and Bob? That's so
Yeah.
silly. And it took me a while to realize that he's probably just saying, as most people do, the nickname in the middle.
Yeah, I did air quotes, but it's also sleepy day for me, so I did not think like John can't physically see me right now, nor can any of you. So, oops.
All right, all right. So let's let's do some real talk right now.
Okay.
Happy Meals
Yes,
provide little toys.
they do.
Um, how little are the toys?
Okay, we're talking in universe.
Mm-hmm. Because like they come in various sizes. They could be like playing cards, but then you get down to that and you think, well, how big are the playing cards? And then you think about all this stuff, and you get real confused. And I'm just confused about size in general, but like a good reference for what I got excited for was a toy that either had something to do with something I cared about, like Power Rangers, which I don't know if they exist in this world, and then also like something kind of big, because
Yeah,
like a big toy is a good toy, right?
yeah,
What is big when your hamburger has to be a quarter the size of a Big Mac truck face?
yeah. And the thing is, when we get into size, like we are, we've been having a discussion very centered around cars. There are aircraft carriers in this world, and like as well as like the forklifts and jumbo jets and Luigi sized cars, and like size is not a consistent thing whatsoever in this universe. What
Mm-hmm.
would be a satisfying meal and, to back to your point, a satisfying toy to Lightning McQueen would not be for the Dwight Eisenhower aircraft carrier.
All right. So I think it's got to be a very American mentality of just make it the biggest size reasonable, and there you go. That's the average size.
I could see that, but then like again, then the the Big Mac would have to be like, I don't know, 20 feet tall to be anything for, again, Dwight Eisenhower, the only aircraft carrier I can name, but that's more than a lot of people from the
You
Cars
think
flicks.
that, but then you think about, well, there are people like good old Hafthor or Thor Bjornsson, uh, strongest man in the world. At least he used to be. Don't know if he still is. Probably is. And do you know how much food he eats?
He eats a lot of it, I'm sure, to keep the muscle mass.
All right. So
You don't know. Why would you say this
in
without Googling
regards to I'm getting to it.
it?
All right. So an average person, you're a man woman of average height, average build. You want roughly 1,500 to 2,000 calories. If you're trying to build, you want to increase that by a reasonable amount. You don't want it to be over like a very large amount. If you're bodybuilding, you go crazy and you can eat like 5,000 calories a day. Well, if the average person eats maybe 2,000 to be healthy, guess how much Halfthor eats when he's like trying to maintain in bulk?
I'm gonna go 8,000.
Okay, I'm very upset that you got it.
In one?
Yep.
Your boy got it in one?
All right, so here's the thing. He eats anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 calories a day.
That's a lot.
So you say that the Big Mac being the size of, what did you say? Like,
I said,
imagine he's the size of like a Big Mac or Mac's head. Okay, Mac eats one of those for a meal. All you gotta do is pretend that the good old Dwight D. Fleisenhauer eats 5 times as much. So he eats five of those. And
yeah,
that's very on par with humans.
I think it has to be a numbers game, not just like, okay, Guido, here's your burger that's the size of a two-story building. Go
Hmm.
for it, bud. Uh,
Uh,
I could,
but yeah, you got five of those Big Macs, and that's for Dwight D. Fleisenhauer. And you get a Junior McPiddle for Luigi.
yeah, I could see it being like either a different like specialty stores for different folks, like at the airport where there are lots of big jets and planes. They have one that specializes in uh, food portion sizes that are good for them. And
Hmm.
like at the harbor, they've got one that's for like cargo ships and whatnot.
And then
Or,
for insane people, you've got Golden Corral.
yeah,
Infinite food.
yeah. Do you ever just think about buffets from the lens of the COVID times?
Oh
That
boy, yeah.
is hard to get into right now, so I'm not going to. So I think maybe another option would be sort of what you were describing, like sizes we get. Like you can get a small, medium, or large at when you go to Arby's or something. But just in the Cars verse, they expand that really far in both directions.
Hmm.
Uh, so they've got, the extra, 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 extra large for Dwight D. Fleisenhauer, and Guido gets the extra small.
Yeah.
But instead of it just having to do with your soda and your fries, they also make like your sandwich or whatever portion.
Think
Uh,
about it this way, though. Like, how are they going to price that?
I mean, man, that would be pretty cost prohibitive
Like, think
to
about
the
it
larger
from just
people.
a standpoint of this world has to have some sort of standard or some sort of like socialist system that requires that, oh, all food will be paid for. Because otherwise, if you're, say, Mac, you have to earn a lot of money. And like Luigi and Guido, they don't have to earn that much. They sell a tire, they're good. They can eat for a week.
I mean,
Dwight D. Fleisenhauer, he has to be taken up like most of the Navy's budget.
yeah, that's really interesting to think about how cost prohibitive that would be. And I mean, I want there to be a system in place to help these folks, but if it's based on, our world, I
Oh, if
could
we imagine that it's our strange hellscape of a we don't care if you starve because you're not working because you can't work, but let's not think about that. You're going to starve and I'm going to do well.
then like yeah, may, oh man, maybe that's why we don't see a lot of aircraft carriers in these movies. Like
There's just not enough calories to sustain more than like 8.
yeah, or like maybe the folks like maybe Dwight Fleisenhauer is like, if I have children, I will be dooming them to starvation.
Or a little bit grim in a different direction. If I have children, I will be dooming myself to
Yeah,
starve while I feed them.
yeah, that's probably more accurate from a parent's mentality. Huh? Yeah,
I
that's
would say a good parent's mentality of I will feed my children before myself.
yeah, hopefully. But yeah, we see so many more cars than anything else, and maybe it's just because they have an easier time feeding themselves. They have an easier time surviving in this world.
Okay. So that's statistically just how it would be.
No,
There
yeah,
aren't that many half Thors because if every single person of the 8 billion people ate 10,000 calories a day, there would be no food in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then Thanos would have to come snap us.
Mm-hmm. Why didn't Thanos just do that? Why didn't he just make everyone half as big?
John, there are infinite ways to make Thanos' plan better.
Double the resources. Uh,
I mean, he had power to warp reality in whatever way he wanted. Like he could just be like, "Hunger, people don't need to eat anymore."
Everything's just sustainable now.
Yeah, people don't need resources in general, or
Yeah, but then he gets
people.
into like, what if he's fundamentally changing how free will works? And he
He
doesn't want to do
killed
that.
trillions of people. Like, and then
Yeah,
his plan when it didn't work in Endgame was, I'm going to demolish the universe
and
and
start
recreate
over.
it in my image.
Well, that's because for some reason time travel made him really petty.
Well, yeah, and it was also an earlier version of him, so maybe he had matured in those 6 years between those two movies in a
uh,
weird way.
okay, so well, I don't know, man. Just imagining a world in which someone can eat something that is as big as I am. That's scary, right?
Yeah, it's that feeling you get when you watch Jurassic Park and you see the big dinosaur eat all those leaves. And you're like, I could be in that and they wouldn't even know it.
Mm-hmm. And then the good old famous line of "That's a big pile of," you know,
Yeah.
from same movies.
Yeah.
It's just a big old pile, and then you think about it, that pile consists of far more mass than one person.
Yeah, it's a big old pile of poop if you don't know the Jurassic Park movies.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
what
I don't.
if your best friend, like, is the Dwight D. Eisenhower, and you're uh, I don't know, very, very small vehicle, and one day he's just sleeping, he's snoring, and then he does the good old cartoony thing of like,
Honk shoe.
and then like the feather goes in the mouth, except the feather is you,
Yeah.
and then maybe he just inhales you, maybe he swallows you. Either way, you're a goner just because your friend is so big.
We found our next movie pitch, which is a forklift and an aircraft carrier are best friends.
Honey, I ate the kid.
Yeah, maybe we'll go into like some like inside story kind of stuff of exploring the internals, or maybe it'll just be very wholesome of like, let's look at this unlikely friendship of a truly giant man and a truly comparatively very small man.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I mean, that's a thing that could happen. Like,
No, yeah,
in our world, there are people who have just massive differences in size. But I'm talking about a difference so grand
yeah,
that you are less than the size of one of their teeth.
yeah. That's what makes it so good, baby. We got this massive difference. That's the drama of it.
Mm-hmm.
People say you can't be friends. He's so big, and I say yes, we can.
Yep.
That's the
Fantastic Voyage.
that's the movie I was trying to get to.
Yep.
Instead, I referenced Mario and Luigi plus Bowser's Inside Story. Uh,
Here's the thing.
tell me to think,
Osmosis
John.
Jones. Osmosis Jones is a
Sure,
movie.
it
Think
is.
about Osmosis Jones.
I'd love to.
It's a movie about like blood cells being personified, but I just think about it. Just think about it. If
Hmm.
you're the Dwight D. Eisenhower, your blood cells might be the size of your friend Tony.
Yeah. Okay, I like that we're naming the characters. We're not going to turn this episode into a movie pitch, but we'll have it.
All right, so Tony and we got to think of like I don't know, not the Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Yeah, but we'll want it to be another like ship name like that. So after a president or something. We'll get there. Yeah, I think the Fantastic Voyage would work without any need for shrinking,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd finally be selling to the vor enthusiasts in the cars community. So there's
Okay.
that.
That's a sad thing to think about too. Like, sure, the very large vehicle is going to have a tough time because it's going to be struggling to get enough food. But, like, think about medical care. It's
Ooh,
got to be
yeah.
so much easier to take care of something like, oh, you've got a bullet wedged in you. If you're a Luigi, then you would probably really be suffering from that. But one bullet in that entire aircraft carrier, that's not going to do anything to you. It's a scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, like, have you ever seen like the big boss battle of Kratos and Kronos?
Yes, I have.
Just think about that.
Yeah.
Like, that's the size disparity we're talking about. Is like, okay, I'm going to perform surgery on this creature. I'm going to need a team of 18 people. We're going to need respirators, not for him, for us. And then we're just going to go inside of this creature and we're going to like do some exploring and spelunking to help this man be healthy.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's fully. If something went truly wrong internally on the Fleisenhauer, they just have to literally go inside him.
hmm Whereas you got a small vehicle, you need a smaller vehicle to do the same, or you just have to like hope that you're able to fiddle around very carefully and precisely.
Yeah, like how Doc is somehow a doctor of internal combustion and does surgery, I guess, and Mater did surgery in that one tall tale fire and rescue, I want to say.
I'm no, Fire and Rescue is the name of the
Rescue
segment.
Squad Mater
Yep.
is what it's called.
All right. So we're getting
Yeah, we're
outside of what we're supposed to be talking about. Fast food.
yeah,
All right.
I got a thing.
Okay.
Drive through,
Drive through.
period.
Uh, drive through. Very inaccessible for the Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Yeah, it's sort of hard when we get on one of these tangents because now all I can think about is the size disparity of the Dwight D. Eisenhower.
All right. Then let's think about it this way.
Yeah,
Just your average vehicle. You go like they're they're developing that one specific Taco Bell where it's basically a super drive-through, and okay, you make it tall enough for like a semi truck. Are you making it wide enough for a plane?
yeah. Maybe it's like it's like one of those like you go, you just park and they bring it out to you. We've discussed this. All restaurants are a Sonic. Flo's is a Sonic.
Everything is a Sonic.
Yeah,
Okay. But do they have different like dietary requirements? I just can't imagine this world in any way allowing for a plane and a boat and a car and a vampire, motorcycle, uh, any of these vehicles all just happening to have the same dietary requirements.
I
Like,
think.
even if we're talking like amount, that's one thing, but think about the fact that if you eat something that's too heavy and you're a plane, you can't fly.
Yeah, I think it would be mostly like caloric and other sort of requirements like that. But and like I think planes are very interesting to me. Well, no, they have to use gas, so I don't think they need the energy from food to fly.
But we need the energy for Squishy Bit.
Yeah, they need the energy to like stay awake, but it's like the same amount of energy you would need to pilot a plane, I would think.
Hmm. Yes. And, well, I don't know. It's going to be more than that because tongue, eyes, they're massive. And just operating those is going to be significantly more caloric requirement.
Yeah.
And then go even further with that and just think, okay, a farmer going to need very different caloric intake than, say, uh, a racer, because one of them you need calories that will be processed slowly so you have a steady flow of energy throughout the day, and one of them you're going to need to be very energetic for a short burst of time. So like you could have caffeine and you don't want to like have as much like just shoot, what is the carbohydrates? You
Yeah.
don't want to have like very many carbohydrates because that's going to like slow you down. It's going to give you energy, but it's going to give you a slower type of energy. You want something that you can process a lot more quickly. But for a farmer, you want something more carbo efficient.
Yeah, that's and I mean I think a lot of it is like what you just said could translate one to one to humans almost. Uh of like the racer wants the diet you described and the human farmer wants the diet you described for car farmers. It's I think just like different lifestyles demand different diets in similar ways they do in our world, just like it comes down to amounts that
Hmm.
they need.
I mean, one big thing about like gym bros and uh, like diet in regard to bulking, cutting, and whatnot is a lot of people will say you just got to hit your macros. I think the macros for each individual style of vehicle, each individual job for those vehicles is gonna be completely different because you want your four main macronutrients. You want your protein, your carbohydrates, your fats, and the other one that I can't think of.
Sure.
It might even be three instead of four. Who knows?
You know?
But you have a balance that you need to set, and with those, with that balance, it's going to be insanely different and insanely different amounts based on each vehicle. But then you think about, okay, you're going to change it again if you're a gelatinous meat pocket that wants to, I guess, be bigger or smaller within your shell.
Which we have sort of seen something like that in the helicopter from Planes Fire and Rescue doing like what looks like I don't know, like a bench press if I remember right with a bunch of
Hmm.
logs.
He was doing, I guess, a lat pull down.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but he was clearly working out. And then in Cars 3, they mentioned several times that Lightning McQueen is like out of shape. And a lot of that was attributed to age, but also he hadn't been racing for a few months because he was recovering. So I imagine that in shape is a thing, and it probably has
Yeah.
something to do with the squishy bit. So, do you need to bulk and cut for being an athlete, or I guess just a hero of the forest?
I mean, I don't know what that would affect.
I mean, maybe the way you move throughout your exo or endoskeleton, whatever kind of vehicle you are. I can't imagine there's one that's got an endoskeleton.
Yeah.
Uh, you have to have a certain amount of reach, and basically your exoskeleton has a certain fit to it. And the more effectively you fit into it with more muscle rather than just like girth itself, is how effectively you can pilot your own body.
Yeah, and there are like mental effects also to being in shape.
Hmm.
Like if you are healthy, like your reaction time goes up, your other stuff like that. I don't have these off the top of my head.
Your reaction time, your ability to perform basic tasks, your ability to even just think more clearly, your general energy levels,
Yeah.
all
So
of
like
that is supposed to be helped significantly by a healthy diet and exercise.
yeah, so like that would be incredibly important both for a high-speed racer and like an emergency rescue
Hmm.
squad.
True.
So,
And for the general public, it's good to have exercise because in our world, exercise helps just general mental health. Like
yeah, yeah.
being real sad can be helped and alleviated a little bit simply by exercising more. All right. So, food, everything is a Sonic,
Everything's a Sonic.
which brings me to something important about fast food,
Yeah,
important about what we know about the cars world. These cars can taste,
certainly. Yes.
they have taste preferences.
Yes.
A big old assumption of ice cream wasabi ball,
Mhm.
that is very unpleasant to Mater. So, what if everything they eat that isn't fuel is strictly for flavor.
I've been thinking about that as well. Yeah, like just like I don't know, man. I like eating things.
Me too. Whenever I try and like bulk or cut and I have to like change my diet to be, oh, just shove a bunch of stuff down your gullet or not eat very much or eat very healthy, I'm not a fan because I like sugar. So much sugar. Sugar's great. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
like if I didn't have to eat, but I still could eat, I would. Maybe not like as much or in the same patterns, but like I don't know. I like hamburgers so much.
Hamburgers are real good, and I mean, sushi and eating anything while drinking a Mountain Dew is real good for me. I love it so much. And then I eat chocolate, so much chocolate, and I'm craving like a hot fudge sundae right now.
I could demolish some brownies, let me tell you.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I think that's a really good avenue to go down. Is like I don't think there's direct evidence besides just the existence of food that they need food per se.
yeah, because we know that a big thing is fuel. That's just
Mhm.
a big thing. And we also know that if they had to worry about food for Luigi as well as the Dwight D. Eisenhower,
Yeah,
that's gonna be insane. Just the caloric intake of that wonderful vehicle would be enough to destroy a country.
yeah, and like correct me here if you think of some others. The examples of food I can think of are wasabi, lemons, corn. They grow corn in that in Prop Wash Junction. I want to say is where Dusty's from.
They're big fans of corn. And the wasabi was with, I believe, just general sushi.
Yeah, and like besides the corn, like just wasabi and lemons are very very strong tasting things, and I think the production of corn can be like put even more towards like
Mm-hmm.
ethanol. Uh, so I'm wondering if like yeah, they just have a proclivity for very, very strong tasting things since it's all about taste.
Hmm.
Potentially all
That's
about taste.
fair. And if it's just about taste, and you've got something as large as the thing we keep bringing up, then if you have something with insanely intense taste, that's going to be much better for them because you don't need nearly as much.
Mm.
Like, one ghost pepper is probably going to be good enough for like a Big Mac truck, that is,
Oh,
right in this little garage.
yeah, man. Also, why don't we call this one fast food? Because uh, fast. I'll just put fast in all caps.
It could
Fast,
be fast
fast.
food and Big Macs.
I'm gonna put fast in all caps. Is that a deal breaker?
I mean, I would encourage fast in all caps if we're
Okay.
including fast food.
Yeah, fast food and Big Macs. I love it. Uh,
Nice.
since this is 100% not about the service industry, it's about
Okay.
fast food and size in general.
That's
Is
right,
what
Lucas.
this
Let's talk
episode's
about the
become.
thing, what this episode is about, the service industry. If
No,
you work
man.
in it, it's unfortunate. I'm sorry. People are not nice
Oftentimes,
to you.
yeah, almost universally.
As a person who has worked in the service industry, I gotta say, it's weird to find out that the word sir can be used as a very, very derogatory insult.
Oh yeah, but I don't think we've done 3/4 of our show at this point on this subject. Let's not. We don't need to squeeze it just back into what we thought it was going to be about.
What are you talking about? We already did it.
Yeah, we just
That was
done
it. We
done
apologized to people in the service industry. That's all you gotta do.
as you should every single day.
Hmm. You should say, hey, I would like a number five, and also, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry that I'm here right now. If I could not be, I well, no, I would. I know I want a number five. Anyway, I do want to talk about just getting back to Jack's email real quick. I feel like we've covered McDonald's, Taco. We haven't talked about Taco Bell, but like I imagine it's a similar structure to everything else we've been talking about.
Of course, it's a Sonic.
Yeah, it's a Sonic, and the food's big sometimes. Uh, but I do want to talk a little bit about Subway that they mentioned here in their email, just because they
Okay.
have a very interesting ordering structure at
Mm.
Subway where you like watch them make it in front of you and you like point to stuff and you're like, I want some spinach, please. And like,
Well, I guess it's going to be outdoors
yeah,
because that's going to be a lot easier.
yeah,
You make it outdoors, and then you also, I guess, only employ forklifts because, of course.
yeah, and that solves most of it. I just wanted to mention it because
Hmm.
like it and your like Chipotle's of the world in which you like tell them as they make it what to put on it are an interesting structure. But yeah, I don't know, man. Nothing makes sense in this universe, and that's the point of the podcast. And I know that.
Hmm.
But size disparity is one we hit every once in a while that just I can't make work. Like we
All
did
right.
not successfully make it work really this episode.
We just said different sizes and then ignored the fact that that's not financially plausible.
Yeah, and then we were like, maybe they don't have to eat. That's it. Ignoring the first bit of this episode. But getting back to do they need to eat? They got biological stuff in there.
Hmm.
Could that be fueled by, gas? Or would they need to eat something?
I'm sure there's a way to make your biological system, oh boy, make your biological system evolve to consume petrol. But we're not there yet, and we'd have to really try to make it happen, even if it's possible.
I have just Googled calories and gasoline.
It's
Be-
insanely huge. It's like 100,000 per uh, milliliter.
this is what I have here is a gallon of gasoline contains about 31,000 calories.
Only 31,000.
Yeah,
Oh, is it American calories or actual calories?
couldn't tell you.
American calories are kilocalories.
Is
That's
it
just a
like
fun bit.
food calories?
Yeah, food calories in America, we just say calories, even though it's 1,000 calories per calorie.
Mm, that's not good. But it does say if a person could drink gasoline, then a person could ride about 912 miles on a gallon of gas.
All right.
I don't know how they figured that out.
Did you say ride?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I no idea.
Yeah, I'm on how stuff works, which whatever. But anyway, yeah, like if they could be powered by like it seems like it would be minuscule for if they could be sustained by gas for a little of that gas to go to keeping the squishy bit
Mm-hmm.
running.
True. But one thing about food is that we don't just need calories, we
No,
also
yeah.
need like the basic building blocks of biology. So like if they included some chunky bits in your gasoline, it's like a throw in some little beans and weenies in your gasoline.
Well, that's what I assume like leaded and unleaded gases at the gas station. I've never looked into it.
Unleaded has no beans or weenies. Uh, Medium octane, I'm just throwing words out there,
Sure.
is just beans,
Mm,
but heavy lead is both.
you get okay. So that's what you're paying for. You
You're
get
paying
what
for the extra beans and weenies.
but like calories are a very large reason why we eat. And I imagine if we could cut those out, we would need to eat a lot less. I'm sort of making this
For sure, for
up,
sure.
but that
Hmm.
sounds right.
Well, it's interesting. Well, there are like myths and legends all around. Like, there's the guy who just didn't eat for 50 years, and that's almost certainly false.
Yeah.
But, like, if you look at him when he died, he was extremely thin and fairly emaciated. So, Who knows? Maybe he just didn't do anything and kept his body as in pristine condition as possible while not doing anything. But yeah, I imagine since your body destroys itself and then remakes itself constantly, that it's got to be like you got to rebuild a lot. You can survive maybe a month without food.
But what I'm trying to get to is like we cut out calories, we assume that comes from gas. We've got the squishy bit with not much physical activity whatsoever, as well as being like, squishy.
It
Like
depends on if they speak. If they speak, that's going to be a lot of calories just for that tongue movement.
that's fair, it's a big old tongue. But there is biological differences between obviously what we assume is inside a car and us.
Uh huh.
So I'm thinking the calories being taken care of by gas, no physical activity, well, much lesser physical activity, and just differences in biology we can't begin to understand comes together to at least needing a lot less food than we would if we were their size.
Well, hear me out. One interesting tidbit about that is that resting, not doing much at all as a person, will still consume a lot of calories. If you don't move at all and you just like kind of exist, you'll probably still consume maybe 500 to 1500 calories depending on your body size in a day.
Yeah, but that's taken care of, baby. That's taken care of. We got calories. We got calories from the gas.
Yeah, but
Don't need it from the food.
a part of that is going to be destruction of the body. Your body constantly wants to grow and also stay the same. So it basically there's the whole thing every 7 years you have a new body.
Yeah,
So just that would still require not only the calories but also building blocks for Squishy Bit.
yeah. Just less than we would need because biological differences we don't understand. John, I'm trying to fix the big boat issue.
Okay, so let's just assume that their fuel has like the iron and protein content that is good for Squishy Bit in vehicle.
It's got the beans and weenies and the and the gasoline. Yes,
It's got the metaphoric and possibly even literal beans and weenies.
I'm not going to compromise their literal beans and weenies and the gasoline.
It's got the literal beans and weenies in the gasoline.
Yes, thank you.
All right,
Sure, why
now let's
not?
talk about something else.
Okay,
Rocket fuel.
superfood, baby, is
It's
like kale,
avocados instead of beans and weenies. It's avocados.
quinoa, baby.
Quinoa, avocados, kale. It's great. It's perfect. That's
Yeah,
what they put in their fuel.
yeah, done in one.
All right.
Ancient grains. I'm just saying words that probably have specific meanings, but I don't know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That feels like the end of the episode. Did you have other stuff you want to talk about vis-a-vis the things we were talking about?
Uh, pizza.
Round, made similarly. Okay, that's something we can do. Not pizza itself, but like delivery, DoorDash and Uber Eats and
All
just
right.
other delivery services.
Right. So, one thing is that I feel like that'd be far more common, even with our whole mentality of everything's a Sonic.
Yeah,
Going out to eat, you have someone deliver the food for you.
yeah,
So it's just a bigger stretch of like, okay, so they're delivering further, and that's it.
yeah. That's pretty much exactly what I was thinking. Is like even though the restaurants are built for them to like work, like it's built to work for cars, it's
Mm-hmm.
still got to be a bit of an ordeal to
Yeah.
go out and eat as a car. So I think delivery much more common, and like you said, I mean they're cars, so they'll probably deliver it a little further.
And if you even think about it, like, okay, so you're a car instead of a human person. So, like, everything's a Sonic really gets extended of you can order from your weird microphone thing, except your microphone thing's just your phone, and someone skates on over to you 30 minutes away.
Yeah,
It's just Sonic is much larger than we've even considered it to be.
Sonic's just the world, baby. The
Hmm.
whole world. Listen,
Everything.
everything is a Sonic.
Everything. All right.
So
I like it.
congratulations to Sonic on taking over the cars first. And
Mm-hmm.
that feels like what we should end it with.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Thank you all so much for listening to this episode. We had fun doing it, as we do every episode. But this one, I don't know. I had a lot of fun with this one. Of course, a very specific and big thank you to Jack for sending us this email that sent us on this caloric journey we went on today. And if you want to be like Jack, who, let me tell you, has been running the game and monopolizing these viewer suggested episodes recently, you gotta send us some emails. If you want to topple Jack from his throne of listener suggested episodes, you gotta send us an email at thekachat@gmail.com or tweet at us at thekachat on Twitter. And we'll take whatever you got. If you got just a general, like, I think very fun for me, the subject of Jack's email was do cars McDonald's? So it can be as simple as that. If you've got an autobiography you want us to do, send us that. If you've got a specific moment in history, if you've got an origin story, if you've got a Pixar Studios, we have so many mini series that you could even frame them around. Or again, just say do cars blank like Jack did, and we
Mm-hmm.
will do it. Now, John, I've been talking for too long and I'd like you to talk.
Thank you for listening. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell anyone and everyone you think might be the least bit interested. And until next time, remember to float like a Cadillac.
And sting like a beamer.